Let's play a quick game of word association. What is the first word that comes to mind when you think of perseverance? Is it hard work, grind, motivation? Likewise, let's do a quick game of body association. What does your body do when you think of perseverance? Maybe furrow your brow, clench your fists, hike your shoulders, get ready to do something, to go after something. Yes, and perseverance may be some of those things, but I am here to tell you a critically important message today based on the research in positive psychology, and that is what perseverance really is. Again, based on the research, and this will totally change your world for the better. Follow along today to learn the key to perseverance and 5 prompts to help you get into that space. Before we dive in, you can have the key to perseverance and those 5 prompts in front of you right this moment by clicking my blog link below. This sends you to a free download with the 5 prompts written out, and those are the 5 prompts we are diving into in depth during today's video. Also, to support this channel, I would greatly appreciate if you gave this video a like and commented your thoughts as you followed along below. So, what's the key? The key is a critical distinction between self-criticism and self-compassion. Maybe this sounds basic. Maybe this sounds too soft to actually be perseverance. As I studied with my master's degree in positive psychology, self-compassion, time and time again, shows in the research across so many realms, from goal motivation to weight loss to childhood development to career satisfaction, that adopting a self-compassionate approach fosters perseverance, goal attainment, and all the incredible endeavors that you are likely striving for if you're watching videos like this. But simply knowing this key is not enough to really apply it into your life, and you know that's what I'm all about here on this channel. So these 5 prompts are not only talking about self-compassion, it's going to take you from that place that most of us are typically at and working far too hard to achieve not the results we're intending in the first place, and slowly, intentionally, and actively guiding you into that place of self-compassion that will help you to persevere through anything. Again, download your PDF if you want to have these 5 prompts with you far after this video. Prompt 1 is to check in with yourself. A quick reality check. What is your typical approach to persevere through challenge or failure? I say specifically through challenge or failure because that's typically when we're adopting or wanting perseverance, is when we're feeling like we're in a tough time. A nice nugget of insight from this question is think of the times when you aren't in the midst of challenge and failure. What's typically happening in your life? How do you feel? How do you behave? Probably from a place that has more to do with self-compassion than self-criticism. When things are easy, it's easier to adopt that self-compassionate lens, and it serves us. So can we use that as inspiration and as a guidance tool to adopt self-compassion also in times of challenge or failure? Okay, that was a bit of a tangent. Let's rein us back in. That first prompt, what is your typical approach? Is it to work harder? Is it to plan? Is it to analyze? Is it to ask for support? What is your typical approach? No judgment, just write it out. Bring that awareness, which is the first huge crucial step to shifting any habits, any mindsets, any behavior change. Prompt 2, ask yourself, what works about your typical approach? And what doesn't work? I'm assuming that something about your approach, even if it drives you nuts or seems like none of it works, there is some benefit. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep doing it. Potentially, the benefit is just that it's familiar, just that it is the approach you've always adopted, and therefore it's more of a habit than anything else. The benefit in that is that you don't have to think too hard. You just fall into your traditional way of working. Or maybe you do see a benefit that it gets things done, or maybe it feels more efficient. Maybe it's applauded by your boss, coworkers, friends, or family. Set a goal, set 3 to 5 bullet points about what works about your current approach, and then flip the coin, what doesn't work. Maybe it feels stressful. Maybe it doesn't feel sustainable. Maybe it leads you time and time again to a different challenge, and you are sick of repeating those same old patterns. As you lay these out, as I always try to guide you to do, please refrain from judging yourself or being overly critical. This is the phase of data gathering and self-awareness. We're just laying out what works and what doesn't. Try to adopt that objective lens, and we're just laying out the facts before going on to change. Going on to prompt 3. You already know the key to perseverance is adopting a self-compassionate approach. But before trying to do this, let's unearth what beliefs may be living under the surface about self-compassion. So prompt 3 specifically says, what are your beliefs about using a self-compassionate approach to persevere? Again, no judgment, no right or wrong here. This is simply to bring the beliefs to the surface, because if we don't, they could self-sabotage this whole endeavor. Even if you learned every single self-compassionate approach, even if you knew logically that self-compassion was your key to perseverance, if there's a belief somewhere in your mind that self-compassion doesn't work, or is too soft, or is the easy way out, you may lead yourself away from self-compassionate exercises, even if you're not trying to. Again, beliefs are some of the most powerful things we have control over. They influence our life, they influence our reality, they influence our behaviors and habits. So without judgment, write out, again, laying out the facts. What are your beliefs about using self-compassion? And if your beliefs are that it doesn't work, or anything else that you could see on the surface would contradict using self-compassion as an approach, that's okay. This is only prompt 3, and beliefs, again, are some of the more malleable things in our life. You have control over this, whether you want to keep the beliefs you currently hold or shift them into new beliefs, which leads us into prompt 4. These beliefs about self-compassion, how do they serve you? And how do they not serve you? This question mirrors prompt 2 when we laid out what works and what doesn't work about your typical approach to perseverance. But with beliefs, there's a slightly different phrasing. How do they serve you or not serve you? So for instance, if you think that a self-compassionate approach doesn't work, or that the traditional self-critical lens to perseverance is an approach that benefits your perseverance more, that might serve you because it allows you to continue behaviors and habits that you've been living by your whole life. If you didn't hold those beliefs, then there would be tension. There would be that cognitive dissonance in your mind because you believed something that contradict the habits and the systems that you have built for your life. Maybe they serve you because it helps you to be in a work environment or in a family environment or a friend environment where everyone else adopts a very similar belief system and therefore system and pattern to living. Therefore, it makes relationships easier because you're not inviting tension or disagreement into those relationships. They may serve you because it's easy, because it's just the belief that you were told, and therefore there was never a time that you had to analyze those beliefs or think too hard. So it's just easy to keep that belief. Again, there are so many different reasons that beliefs serve us. Outline for yourself 3 to 5 bullet points. How do these beliefs that you hold about self-compassion serve you? And then the flip side, how don't they serve you? Maybe you're finding that this belief system about perseverance and specifically self-compassion makes life harder in the long run. Maybe it leads to greater stress. Maybe the flip side of that coin, when we were talking about it makes relationships easier, it may be leaving you in relationships that actually are in disagreement with what's best for your well-being. Specifically here, I'm thinking of a work environment where there's a mentality all around that perseverance means grind, means working hard hours, means being self-critical of our work. You may therefore adopt those beliefs that self-compassion is not the right way and this other self-critical lens is, which makes the relationship and the work environment easier, but your well-being then is at stake. And if you were to step into greater alignment with, for instance, trying on self-compassion as a way to persevere, sure, there may be some friction invited into those relationships or that environment, but your well-being would thrive. And that brings you to a place of autonomy and choice. What do you choose to believe? What do you choose to accept as what causes friction in your life? Do you want it to be points of contention at your work, or do you want it to be your own relationship with your well-being? Obviously, I'm presenting this from a biased lens. I know how hard it can be to be living in a place of a self-critical lens, and I know how amazing and fulfilling and helpful it is to adopt self-compassion. So I'm laying it out there. I am biased in these examples, and I invite you to try on the perspective. See if it works for you. You can always ditch it. You can always turn to a different video on perseverance and try that on as well. And of course, find the one that serves you best. That said, the 5th and final prompt is an invitation to enter an experiment. So this is not to say that self-compassion 100% will work for you. Maybe with your unique circumstances, with your personalities, with your preferences, this isn't the approach for perseverance. Maybe this actually isn't the key to your perseverance, and that's okay. But we won't know that until you try it on. Again, this is research backed, so I have a good gut instinct and a good feeling that this might change your life for the positive. And again, we won't know that until you try it. Prompt 5. Ask yourself, what would it look like if you adopted a slightly more self-compassionate approach to how you're persevering through your current challenge? And as a follow-up, Are you willing to enter that experiment? So by first asking yourself, what would it look like? It gives you the opportunity to brainstorm some ideas. How might you adopt a more self-compassionate approach? This isn't to swing the pendulum all the way to that side of fully self-compassionate 100% of the time, but could you shift just a little bit, just a step in that direction, and what would that look like? Maybe this means you have a hard stop at the end of your workday rather than working until a project is done. You're more compassionate to your capacity of how long and how much you are willing to or can work. Again, taking your well-being into consideration. Maybe a slightly more compassionate lens to persevering is adopting a slightly more compassionate mantra. You could practice this on your runs, during a challenging test, or in tough conversations. Saying something like, I accept myself. I trust myself. I value my well-being. Or in those moments of challenge, asking yourself, what could I do that's self-compassionate right now? Invites opportunities to take a step back from those challenges. For instance, go for a 2-minute walk down the hallway if you've been in a tough conversation all morning. Take 3 deep breaths. The difference 3 deep breaths can make for your life is so significant. Maybe it's putting a hand over your belly or over your heart if you feel comfortable to do that during a conversation or during a workday, and just offering that touch, that sign to yourself that you can be a little softer, you can be a little kinder to yourself, even if it stays just at that physical level. So after you've brainstormed all of these different options, how you could take one baby step toward this approach, asking yourself and committing, are you willing to enter that experiment? The answer could be no, in which case that's okay. You showed up for this video, you learned about something new, and that's enough. Or maybe you make a small commitment. Yes, I will try it once. Check in, see how it feels, see what happens, and then you can ask yourself again, will I do that experiment again? Was it good enough to try again? Or maybe you like to go all out and you want to say, yes, for the next month or the next week, I'm going to adopt this one specific shift toward self-compassion as many times as I can, or once a day. Again, the choice is yours. It is all in your power to shift these beliefs, to shift this perception, and to put yourself into the experiment so you can gather real life data of whether this approach works for you or not. Again, if you need the assurance, this is research backed. I have seen this happen in my own life, in my clients' life, in my members' life, time and time again. Adopting self-compassion helps you attain your goals, persevere through really hard times, and foster that motivation and that energy that we're often wanting when we adopt the traditional contrary lens of self-criticism and grind. Plus, cherry on top, it feels a heck of a lot better to be kind to ourselves, to accept ourselves, to be soft with ourselves, rather than dig ourselves into the ground with hard work. And that is it, the key to perseverance and 5 prompts to help you implement this key into your life. Enter that experiment and see the changes for yourself. As a reminder, you can have these prompts in front of you far after this video by downloading a free PDF. I have it linked in my blog below in the description. And if you want to take this a step further and learn even more about this positive psychology approach to making decisions, to attaining your goals, and to living a more fulfilling life, I have a book for you. I wrote Ready Enough, your 7-step guide for life's hardest decisions, peeking over my shoulder right now, and it's available for you anywhere books are sold. Also, linked in the description below. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone else who maybe you want to be an accountability partner with, so you can both adopt a self-compassionate approach to your current challenge. And that is all from me today. My name is Marin. I am the owner of Yes And, where I empower you to dismantle limiting beliefs about how life should be so that you can own your potential, make your positive impact, and experience true fulfillment. It is my honor to be here as your guide today via video, and you have 2 ways to take this even a step further. Download the PDF or get the book. I'll be here for you again next week, and I look forward to seeing you.